I speaking? He wondered out loud. There's Mr. Gopher. There he is, the Gopher. We're going to be seeing more of the Gopher in the future. It's afternoon, Kurt. It's like in the oh no, you're right, it's morning. Excuse me. I'm living in the future. It is morning for another 7 minutes. Yeah, it's almost noon. Almost maybe noon. Leslie Ann, welcome. Good to see you. The way comments work is that if you aren't here when I post, okay, thank you. How's that? Is that better, Kurt? Music balance wise. So I was going to try to copy my previous comment, but it won't let me do that. I have to write them all from scratch. Sounds like a job for text expander. That doesn't sound right. Is that right? Text expand? Yep, text expander, that is right. I should have a snippet for that. So this is interesting. Oh, okay. I just look at my iPhone because that's where I see how many people are here. I don't think I can see that in eCam. So it's only 105 in the Sonoran Desert right now. So I think we've got everything ready. I checked my speed. I've got 10 megabits per second upload, which is the minimum we want for live streaming. And I checked down detector to see if Cox was having any complaints. Well, actually, Cox always has some complaints. Didn't seem to be too bad. And then on a live stream I was watching earlier today, I learned that YouTube is having some issues. So hopefully those won't affect us. We'll just keep on trucking. Well, let's see. Who's the guy in the cowboy hat? Let's see. I'm supposed to be adding you. I have... Oh, good. Yes, I can. I can. I have one of those right here, so I can... I'm not going to pick it up with one hand. That would be disastrous. Hello, Mabel. So let's see. Can I get Mabel to come on the screen? There you are. And there's Goo. No entiendo, Senor Kurt. Goo? Did I say goo? Oh, is that as in goo morning? I don't know. So, yep, it's good to have a UPS because there have been a lot of power outages and they haven't been, at least the one, well, maybe somewhat, but they don't seem to be as related to monsoon this year as they have been in the past. They seem to be related to the high temperatures and people using their air conditioners. I think that's the problem. So, we are about ready here to go. We have 7 people with us. So my iPhone is updating the number of people watching, which is good. Because I like to know there's people watching. You know what I like even more than to know people are watching? I like to know, see, can I get over to GoFor here? I like to know because you're commenting. Makes me feel good. Okay, so Kurt, the question is, what should you connect to your UPS? That's a great question. And as Bob mentioned, you shouldn't be connecting laser printers. Actually, Roger would add to that, do not connect any printer because it's not essential. So the whole idea of the UPS is to have your computer, if you have a separate monitor like on a Mac Mini, that should be connected, and your backup drive, your time machine drive, or if you have a carbon copy cloner drive as well, that should be connected to the UPS because those are the essential things that you need to back down. Oh, hi, here we are. Hi, welcome to GoFor Lunch. I'm Roger Harmon with GoFor Technology, where we help you master the technology. And one way we do that is this weekly GoFor Lunch, where we can answer any question and then talk about our topic of today, which is USB and other kinds of cables. So if you'd like to know more about that, please don't hesitate to subscribe. And then you'll get a notice every time I do a live stream. So that's great. Hello, Helen. Glad to see you here today. And Carolyn's here. Well, yes, we're all wishing for rain for sure. So to finish up the question that Kurt had here. So again, you don't need to connect your printers for sure. But anything that has data on it that's essential that you need to shut down in an orderly manner, which would be your computer, external monitor if you are running a Mac Mini, your time machine drive, and if you have another drive like a carbon copy cloner or the other cloning program, which I'm not thinking of at the moment, then those all should be connected to the UPS so that you have time. And the whole idea of UPS is that you are able to shut things down properly so that you don't corrupt any data. So you don't want to sit there and keep on typing the great American novel. You want to save your work, shut her down, and then go find the coolest room in the house and don't move around too much. So remember that there are no stupid questions here. The only stupid questions are the ones you don't ask. So ask those questions. Don't be embarrassed because you may be helping someone else. So we are talking about primarily USB cables today. So USB stands for Universal Serial Bus. I bet you were wondering about that. So now you know. And you probably won't care ever again because you don't really need to know that. You just need to know more about what USB cables are and what each of them do and how that relates to your computer and peripherals. So you might be thinking, how come we have so many different kinds of USB cables, universal serial bus cables? And the reason is that technology keeps changing. Little news bulletin there for you. So as things change, computers get faster, they need to move the data from your computer to your peripherals faster because the computers are faster. So they keep improving the cable technology to do that. So let's jump right in here and look at some examples of the USB cables you may be using. So up in the upper left-hand corner, right about there, we have the familiar USB-A cable. So that's the flat cable. You can only plug it in one way because this is the white part is an opening and the gray part is not an opening, so it can only be plugged in one way. So those have been around, I think, since 1990, mid-90s, 96. And they're not going anywhere soon because those are the cable ends that plug into your power brick for your charging your devices. So that's starting to change a little bit, but they will still work if it fits in the power transformer, the charger, then it should work. Next we have the USB-B cable. So this actually is an older style. So if you have an older printer, you may have this style. So usually the only place you see this style is on printers and sometimes on hard drives. So now the USB connector that you see on printers and some hard drives is this new version of the USB-B. So you can see it has a little extension up here. So again, it has more contacts. The little yellow things are contacts. So that falls right into the transferring more data faster. So then they came out with the mini USB, and so they call it the mini A. You don't see very many mini Bs, so I wouldn't worry about that one, but there's a lot of mini A's. So the mini A is used to connect a lot of devices like headsets, earphones, Bluetooth speakers. So any kind of a device that you charge will usually have a USB-A mini. Now this is actually kind of going out of style, so probably the only thing you have right now that takes a USB mini is maybe an older camera. A digital camera will usually take these because they have switched to the USB micro. So you can tell the micro because it has these chamfered edges here, so you know which way to plug it in. Even then, it's hard sometimes to tell the correct way to plug in because they are so little tiny. You might say they're micro because they are. So what they did here, they took this guy and they added more connections to it, and they call this the same thing, the micro B, but it's different. But of course they won't fit in the same, well, actually you could fit this connector in the jack for this micro B, but it probably wouldn't work. So this one is mostly seen on recent hard drives. So hard drives from people like Seagate and Western Digital are using this type of connector. And then we have the newest member of the family, the USB-C C. C as in Charlie. So, what's the USB-C all about? Hi, Barbara. The USB-C is all about the same thing, new technology, faster data speeds, more data to send. So you want to send more data faster. Are you getting that picture? Hope so. So the USB-C is important, especially to we Mac owners, because if you own a MacBook that was developed in 2016 or later, you have all USB-C connectors. That's all you have. So on a 13-inch Mac, you have 2. On a 15-inch or 16-inch MacBook Pro, you have 4 USB-C connectors. So that's a problem because you got these hard drives and printers and other peripherals that take the USB-A connector. So what are you gonna do? You're going to have to either go to Dongle Town, as we in the Mac community call it, and get little dongles to, I'd show you a dongle here, but it would disconnect my Ethernet, so that's not going to work for us. I must have a dongle here somewhere. This obviously was not rehearsed. Why is this little thing sticking here? It's like it's a magnet. Okay, so there must be a dongle in here somewhere. I think I've seen a dongle. Yes, I have a dongle. Well, this is not really a dongle, but you'll get the idea. So, let's just get a bigger picture, shall we? Okay, so here we go. So, this is a dongle. So it's a short cable that converts from one connector, in this case a USB-A, to the micro USB. So let's see if we can get the camera to focus here. It's trying. Okay, so that's the micro. So they have all sorts of dongles, but when you're talking about a MacBook from 2016 or later, this end would be a USB-C. C as in Charlie. And actually, I think we have a USB-C right here. Yes, we do. So, in this case, we have a USB-C. I'm going to try to get this up here so it'll focus. A USB-C to USB-C. Okay. So the nice thing about USB-C, as opposed to all those other USB connectors, is you can connect them in this way, or you can flip them 180 degrees. Oh, there's a great, oh, didn't quite make it. You can flip it 180 degrees, and it works that way too. So that's the best thing, in my opinion, about the USB-C. It plugs in correctly the first time. So that is, hi Ann, that is the story. So let's go back to looking at some other examples here. So we're going to get rid of that one and see what's behind it. Or not. Okay, now we're going to do it. Okay, so I'm going to talk about this in a minute, but that is an RJ45 Ethernet connector. So keep that in the back of your head, and we'll get back to that. Okay, so here is the rear of an older iMac. So if Bob or Kurt remembers when they switched this, please put that in your comments. I'm guessing 3, years ago, 4 years ago. Could have been in 2016 when they switched it on the MacBooks. But here we have 4 USB-A connectors. So that's where you would plug in your Time Machine backup drive. If you don't have a wireless keyboard or wireless mouse, you could be plugging in a mouse and a keyboard. You could be plugging in a flash drive, connection to your big girl or big boy camera. And then we have these funny looking little connectors, which we haven't talked about. And those are called mini display port. Mini display port. And you can see above here, you have this little icon, which looks like a Thunderbolt. So this is Thunderbolt 2. Now we're not going to get into Thunderbolt because that's a whole another session. But we will talk about the fact that this one connector does several different things. So you can connect a monitor, thus the name, mini display port. But you could also connect hard drives, which work on the Thunderbolt protocol, and a few other things. And then this is the Ethernet connector. So this is where you would connect the Ethernet cable, which we saw the connector. We'll look at it again. From your modem, either your cable modem or your DSL modem from your telephone company. If you're in this area, it would be CenturyLink. So to get the fastest internet speed, you would want to connect directly to your modem and not rely on Wi-Fi. So we're going to get rid of that one. So there's that Ethernet connector again. And that's what you connect between your computer and your modem. But if you have, like Ann does, a MacBook Pro, which was manufactured in 2016 or the years since then you don't have this connector on your computer like you did on your old one. So you're back to dongle town, or we'll talk about something else you could get here in a second. So we're going to get rid of that. And here's a more modern iMac. So again, the layout is almost exactly the same. You've got 4 USB-A ports. You've got your Ethernet port where you connect to your modem. But look, what are these? Look at that. They got chintzy here. They only put 1 icon instead of 2. But now these are your Thunderbolt ports, but these are Thunderbolt 3 ports. And Thunderbolt 2 and Thunderbolt 3 are not necessarily compatible. So be aware of that. So now you have 2 USB-C ports on your modern iMacs. So that's why you have to know about that. So let's see what happens if we do that. So here's another picture I just wanted to show you because it is a little confusing. So again, we'll start from the USB-A here in the bottom left. And then you also have your Lightning connector, which connects to your iPad and your iPhone, unless you have a newer iPad Pro, which uses the USB-C. Anybody confused yet? So this is the Lightning. It's Apple's proprietary connector, and nobody uses it but Apple. And then again, this is the new style USB, which will connect to a printer or maybe a hard drive. This is an extension cable. So this is a female USB-A. So sometimes, especially with keyboards, when you want to route it under your desk and make everything neat, you might want an extension cable because the connected cable doesn't work. Then we have the micro USB, which is used on hard drives primarily. And then we just have 2 USB-Cs right here. So that's just another look at the same thing, just kind of a review. So let's open it up for any questions. And while you do that, I am going to go to a place where we talk about what do you do to connect your old peripherals to your newer Macintosh. And we go to one of our favorite vendors, which is Other World Computing, aka OWC, but their internet address is Mac Sales, just to confuse you even more. So here we go, in the top we go to Docs. So basically we want to go, we'll look at all the docs here. So there's a basic dock, which is they call a travel dock. And so if you're not doing a whole lot with your computer, then a travel dock might be all you need. And of course, since it costs less, they put it at the end of the page. So we're going to learn more about the travel dock. So again, when you get a newer computer that only has USB-C connections, then you have to figure out a way to get your older peripherals into your newer computer that is only USB-C. So here's the little travel dock. And of course, this is also good for traveling. So here's a good example. Maybe you're podcasting and you want to plug in a microphone or a digital recorder, or many headsets now have USB connectors on them. So you would use the travel dock. So is it going to show me a better picture of this? They've changed this page since I was here last. So we see the blue line up here, so we're making some progress. And wait for it. So they have a new travel dock, which has built-in cable storage. So that's kind of nice, especially if you're putting it in a case to take your computer somewhere. But here's what I was looking for. So you can see from this picture, it has a USB-C. This is a memory card from your camera, and this is a USB-A. But wait, there's more. This is how the cable is stored on the new model. And then if we look at this side over here, we have an HDMI connector, which we didn't talk about, which connects to a monitor. So if you want to connect your MacBook to an external monitor, like a 27-inch monitor, so you have the best of both worlds, portability and a large screen, that's how you would do it, through this port here. And then we have another USB-A port. So there's a total of 2 USB-As and 1 USB-C. Now, the way this works is it has power pass-through, or pass-through power, depending on whether you read it first before you say it or not. What this means is you plug your power supply that came with your MacBook into this USB-C port, and it powers the port and passes the power on to your computer. So if you have a 16-inch MacBook Pro, you need 100 watts of power. And this will work with any other MacBook Pro that requires less power, but you want to make sure you have enough for the latest. So buying this guy will future-proof it. So this is $55. However, they have a version of this that's $34 usually, unless they've sold them all out. So if we run here to look at specials, so anybody have any question about docks and when you would use them, why you would need them? So we'll look here and see if we can see the $34.95 one. So there it is. Oops, that's not it. So let's hope it's here. So as many of you know and have already done so, we recommend Time Machine drives. There's one, it's pink, and it's only $32.99. So if you don't need the Thunderbolt 3, which you probably don't, you can get this little travel dock for $32, and you might be able to find one less expensive that would be in space gray. But anyway, they are out there. So again, we recommend the Mercury Elite OWC drives for your Time Machine backup drive. And so that you may already have one of those, because that's what Nemo and I recommend to everybody. So Leslie Ann has a great question here. And as soon as I get my cursor up there so you can all see it, would you use it dock with your iPad when you travel? So yes, you definitely could, but the question is, do you really need all of those ports? So you may just need a dongle. So when you connect your iPad when you're traveling, that would be probably to transfer your pictures. And as I know, that's what you would want to do, Leslie Ann. So maybe just a little dongle cable would be all you'd need, so you could travel lighter. Because you're not going to be, needing the HDMI port. You're taking your pictures, I'm pretty sure, with just your iPhone. And so, of course, this would accommodate your iPhone as well as your iPad for transferring pictures. So I think I would recommend just getting the little dongle. Now, as we mentioned last week, I believe it was, you want to make sure you get these dongles from Apple or somebody that certifies that they were made for devices, MFI, made for iPhone. And look for that label on the package. And so there's other companies that do that besides Apple, and they offer them less expensive. But make sure you get a good quality cable and test it before you leave town. And of course, before you leave town, you always want to back up your iPad and your iPhone by connecting it to your Mac, because that's the only way you get a complete backup. So don't forget to do that. So let's see what Buffalo Bob has to say here. If I can get Buffalo Bob to show up here. So he uses dock at home, sets the MacBook down, connects the cable, and then he's connected to all his network, his printers, his backup drives, and everything. So yes, good point. So that's why they call it a dock. Some of us will remember back in the olden days when Apple made a laptop that had a dock that you actually put the computer in, and it sucked the computer inside and made all the connections to your external monitor, your external keyboard. It was really slick and very mechanical. But this is the same idea. You connect, in the case of a MacBook, since 2016, you would connect one USB-C cable to your MacBook, and the dock would take care of the rest. So more in line with, I'll just show you this real quick here, with what Bob is talking about. You would want to get the dock that many of us use, including me and Mabel has one of these. So here you have a 14-port dock. So you see, oh, you're not seeing it. One moment, please. Please adjust your set. The trouble is not at the station. So you have 4 USB ports. You have an Ethernet port. You have 2 USB-C ports. This is a mini display port for an external monitor. This is where you plug the pass-through power in, and this has its own power supply. So the nice thing about having its own power supply is if you do move about with your MacBook, then you could keep the MacBook power supply in your MacBook case and never forget it, because you don't need it when it's connected on your desk. So a little pro tip there. So now this is the other side. You have two memory card slots. You have an audio slot, another USB-A, and another USB-C. So if the travel dock doesn't have enough ports for you, OWC has you covered, but it costs more. But I think these are on sale right now for $249. So they do go on sale. So this gives you kind of a nice little representation of how this would work. So there's your iPhone, there's your backup drive, keyboard, mouse, headphones. So that is that. So if there are no more questions, I want to thank you for coming, and thank you for viewing this on the replay. Don't forget to subscribe so you can be notified about those lives, and then reminded that if you missed the live, the replay is always on our YouTube channel. You can find the link to that YouTube channel every Monday morning in the GoFor Gazette. Next week, preview of coming attractions. We're going to talk about Apple Pay. So I know people that haven't been doing Apple Pay. I've started doing a little research on Apple Pay, and I didn't realize it's been out for 4 years, almost 5 years. So I use it almost everywhere I go that I can. I use it everywhere I go that I can use it, and so something to look forward for next week. So always remember, I do have a mask. I have 6 of these actually, and others. So have mask, will travel. So I can come to your house. I can also do screen sharing to help you. So don't hesitate to ask if you need help. So please share this. You can forward the GoFor Gazette to your friends, relatives around the world, neighbors, co-workers, and then we can get, when we get 100 subscribers, we have 40 now. Thanks for subscribing, everybody. We can get a nice, clean URL, so it'll be easier to find this channel. So that would be wonderful. So Kurt has a question. How do you calculate the correct size for UPS? So CyberPower and APS are 2 of the major manufacturers of uninterrupted power supplies, UPSs, and they have charts on their websites. The way I calculate it is what's on sale at Costco. I buy the 1500 watt unit at Costco, and I know that'll take care of me. So, and then again, you can buy a smaller one to power your modem and your router if it's separate from your modem. So you can, if you have a battery powered MacBook, you could keep on trucking while the lights are out. Okay, folks, thank you for attending. Glad to see you all here, and we will see you next week. If you have any questions, just email me or call me, and I'd be glad to help.